Because in my heart, I'm a 16-year-old boy, really, which is great if you're a comedian, but not if you're a gynecologist. God, girls, can you imagine me coming into the room? You got your feet in the stirrups. All right, Mrs. Macon, let's have a bloody hell. I can see everything. You want some cider? I couldn't be an airline pilot, you know, because you're on your own in the cockpit. I'd have to be a steward, out there with the passengers, put on a bit of a show. People, if we're in a crash, please do not despair. Grab a mask from above your head and suck in lots of air. Whip on your life jacket and tie it very tight. Then stick your hair between your legs and kiss your ass goodnight. Actually, do you know what? Wouldn't mind being a pilot, because everyone's life depends on you. So you can get away with anything, can't you? I mean, who's going to argue with that voice that they do, you know? This is your captain speaking. My name's Brian. How much do you earn? Hope you have an enjoyable flight. Our stewardesses are there to help you, and our stewards are there to show we employ gays. Right, we are cleared for takeoff. Let me just take the chewing gum out of my mouth and stick it in my co-pilot Nigel's ear. He loves it. Take that, you bitch. Weather in Miami is superb, 26 degrees Celsius with a light breeze. Shame we're going to Glasgow where the weather's shit. If you'd like to visit the cockpit, you're very welcome. You don't have to give me a blowjob. Maybe you think I fly better when I'm tense. Want to risk it? Go ahead. Finally, if there are any drug mules with us today, I have one word for you: share.
I would give a life prison sentence, oh, you're on board now, aren't you? I would give a life prison sentence to anyone who works in Pret-a-Manger and when I order an individual yoghurt, fails to remind me to get a spoon. Because they know in half an hour I'll be sat on the train with a yoghurt head in my hands, thinking, why do bad things happen to good people? Thinking, can I make my lid into a spoon? I don't have the origami skills. I just think if you do a job, you should do the whole thing. Like I got in a taxi the other day, told him my destination, he turned around and he said, have you got a preferred route? I said, surely that is your job. I was well getting in and go, are you right to do the gears? Because I'm eating a Yorkie, I haven't got my hands free. But what I'm trying to tell you, right, to cut a long story short, what I'm trying to tell you, I don't know if you've ever bumped into someone you haven't seen in 6 months while you're on a train drinking a yoghurt. It's a low moment, you know, they're going to report to mutual friends. I bumped into Josh. How was he? Having a breakdown. He was mixing the two sections of a fruit corner with his own tongue. Has he got a girlfriend while he was getting off with a petit falou? Yeah. There's no panic like it on a train. The only panic close on a train is when out of nowhere the announcement will come at the next station this train will be splitting in two. I've never known if I'm in the front or the back four carriages. There'll be rumours flying around the carriage. Stick your head out the window and count backwards. I can't get the angle. One guy in headphones who hasn't heard, well, I'm not telling him. Unlucky mate. Families being split up like it's East and West Berlin. You two go one way, we'll go the other. Two of us will live on, the other two will end up in Littlehampton. I like the train. The train is my preferred method of transport. I don't like flying. It scares me. I don't know how people aren't scared of flying. How are you okay with turbulence? The first time I heard about that, I couldn't believe my ears. I was going, oh, what was that? Oh, sorry, did we not tell you? Sometimes when you're 5 miles in the air, the plane will go up and down uncontrollably, and there's nothing the pilot can do about it. That's not an acceptable feature. You go on a bus and they went, just so you know, sometimes halfway down the motorway, we might just zigzag in and out of the lanes. There's nothing the driver can do about it. You're all right with that, aren't you? No, because I'm not a psychopath. And the entertainment's not enough to distract you. Like, the film's fine. The other options. Who are these people on planes watching these single episodes of serial dramas? Oh, Series 5, Episode 16 of Dexter. Brilliant. That's exactly where I've got to in my box set. Well, I missed the first 5 series and 15 episodes. I'm sure I'll catch up. Oh, I got on a plane recently. You not believe this? Genuinely, one of the options, Series 1, Episode 1 of Lost. The plane crash drama. What are the other options? The Buddy Holly story. I'm not an expert, I will admit this, on aviation. Someone asked me the other day, they said, what do you think about this debate over whether Heathrow needs a 3rd runway? And my first reaction was, has Heathrow only got 2 runways? I assume they had loads of them. It's a massive airport. That means they've got more WH Smiths than they've got runways. I mean, that's not an airport, that's just a newsagent with excellent transport links.
We never even had a summer. It was so depressing. Nothing happened, except there was a lot of rain, a great deal of rain. More rain ever since records began. Yes, not that we have any idea what that means. There was this strange period in history with no records at all. People would leave their homes and go, it feels slightly different to yesterday. Is anybody writing this down? And then after a period of time, somebody said, enough's enough, I will write this down. I would like to announce that records have begun. That first day must have been quite a record-breaking day, don't you think? It's the hottest, wettest, windiest day since records began! This morning, I've only just started. I've been talking about the wind as well on the weather. Who cares about the wind? Could it be a stiff northeasterly breeze? I'm not sailing to work. I don't give a shit. People see that and go, I'll leave slightly later with the tailwind. I'll be there in half the time. Woo! Then the clocks are going to change. Nobody knows when the clocks are going to change. They change on a Saturday night. Nobody knows it's going to happen. Everybody the same every Saturday night, every year. They don't know which way or what's going on. You only find out about it late on Saturday night. You overhear somebody, excuse me, what was that? The clocks, they've changed. When? Tonight? Oh! Darling, the clocks, which way? They go back. Is that the good one? Is that the good one? How many years do we need to be alive before we know when they change and which way? An extra hour! Woohoo! The only thing we can look forward to, ladies and gentlemen, in this winter is snow. It's the only thing that gets us through, because the weather's terrible, but snow is the holy grail. Nothing beats snow. And normally, we get one day of snow, and you've got to hope that it snows overnight, so you can be snowed in. Earlier this year, it snowed in the middle of the day. You don't want that. I was waiting for my bus, and where I live, there's no tube. You have to wait for the bus. The buses actually originate there. The bus is already there. So it's even more frustrating. I'm waiting for the driver. We've got everything we need. We're looking for people. Can you drive this thing? And that's when the snow came. Amazing, instantly landing snow. The best of snow. I mean, the most unbelievable snow. And then I realized, oh my God, I could get snowed out. This is not what I need. The driver shows up. And he says, ladies and gentlemen, I regret to inform you, due to the chaos on the roads, it's been snowing 8 seconds at this point. We're cancelling the bus. There will be no running of this service. And we're like, well, hang on a minute. We bought our tickets. What are we going to do? How are we supposed to get home? There's no way to get home. What are we going to do? And he said, don't shout at me. I actually live at the other end of this bus route. I take this bus home, and then I'm relieved by another driver. And we're like, well, this is a very interesting development. How are you going to get home? There's only one thing to do. Walk. It's the only way we can get home. It's the only way at all. I'm like, fine, OK. So we walked the bus route, led by the driver. We came to the first stop. We had to tell the people waiting, there's no bus. And they joined our imaginary bus. It was getting bigger and bigger. I looked behind us, I could see the next imaginary bus. Not a bus, just people walking. And it was catching up fast, because no one to pick up from the stops. And the driver saw this as well, and he turned around. He said, when we get to the next stop, don't tell them anything. Keep walking, they can get on the next one. I thought this was one of the funniest things that ever happened to me. I said to the woman walking next to me, I said, this is hilarious. We're on an imaginary bus. There's a driver. There are old people walking. And this is funny, right? And I thought we were on the same wavelength. But now I remember I was doing most of the talking because she said, I'd love to chat, but this is my stop. She got down to an actual bus stop and then walked in the direction we had just come from. I thought, to hell with this. I'm walking. Woo!
Parris, and yes, I am here to bring the noise. Yes, I am what you call in show business a triple threat. I do comedy, and I do music, and I will cut you. Just joking, I probably won't. So it's so fantastic to be here today. I will be doing a little bit of music, so if you're a fan of NWA or Snoop Doggy Dogg, then I apologise. I'll be about 3 minutes. So this first song, this is about travelling on a train. Could you give me a cheer, Apollo, if you've ever been on a train before? About half. OK, great. Lovely. Well, the half of you who cheered, that means you are my target demographic. Congratulations. So I'm going to sing this song. This is about the worst thing any of us can ever encounter on a train journey. Just before I sing it, I have had some problems at previous gigs, actually, so I just want to make something crystal clear. If you listen carefully, I'm not even saying the word Hindu. Just listen harder. Hindu on a train. Hindu on a train. Cowboy hats and penis cakes. Neck tattoos and big L plates. And voices like a foghorn in a drain. Hindu on a train. Groping every passing male. I suspect you've been to jail, and God willing, you might all go again. And although I have so many things to say to you, I'm aware that there are 6 of you, and all of you have had more fights than me. I've never glassed someone, but I do know how. Perhaps I'll glass you now. Hindu on a train. You brought your own speakers too, brilliant. To belt out Calvin Harris tunes. I mean, the maid of honor's clearly on cocaine. Hindu on a train. You see me staring and you threaten me. Then drunkenly you all set on me, and with a dick-shaped bottle take your aim. If you only knew, we're not so different, me and you. Just 3 months ago, my friends Hindu, we got drunk and we pretty much hijacked a plane. We were worse than you. We went down on all the crew. Mostly reluctant gay men, some women too. We got thrown out of Spain. You see, we're all the same, but you're not listening, you're bashing out my brain. Hindu on a train.
Hello, how are you? Lovely, here we are, Hammersmith Apollo, live at the Apollo. Yeah? That's right. Fancy London, the capital and that. Oh, yeah. Like coming down here. Who's from London? Gives a cheer. Quite a few, quite a few. That was probably the longest conversation you've ever had with a stranger, I imagine. They just don't like chatting, do they? I was at Euston the other week. There was a fella reading a book. I'd seen this book in W.H. Smith. I quite fancied it. So I wandered over. I went, all right, mate, is that book any good? Because I've been thinking about getting it. Now, in Manchester, that wouldn't be a weird thing to do, OK? I mean, it'd be weird if a bloke was reading, you know, like, in public, you know. But I went over, I was like, is that any good, that book? He looked at me like I'd gone, all right, mate, can I have a little tickle of your bollocks? Is that all right? What? What about if I just hold them till the train comes? Is that all right? What? Well, and you're very impatient down here, very impatient. I mean, I was on that underground tram network that you've got, right? Or as in the north, we like to call it witchcraft, right? Ah, it's not natural. It's not natural. It's weird, don't trust it. I was down there, I was running for a tram, right? I'm going to call it a tram. I was running for the tube, and this fella sprinted past me, dead fast, right? Satchel hit me in the head. And he was running for the tube, and the doors closed, and he went mental, like proper, like, oh my God, I can't believe it! I've just missed it! I'm going to be late for work, this has ruined my day! Oh, here's one. That's right. Because at every 2 bloody minutes. And black cabs make me laugh. You get in a black cab in London, right, at night, and this is the only city this happens with, right? At night time, you get in a black cab, and it depends where the driver lives before he will contemplate giving you a lift. All right, mate, just going to Croydon. Oh, sorry, I live in Barnet. Well, we can chat about that on the way to Croydon if you want. Doesn't make any sense. I think you think you're in a bus. You know what I mean? How close to... You only giving lifts to your neighbours tonight? Is that what it is? Number 47, please. Oh, I'm only going to number 32. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. Oh, well, fair play to him. That's why, in Manchester, I'll tell you this, right? In Manchester, I got a taxi once when I was at university. I got his taxi, and I told this fella where I lived, and he went, oh, it's a bit rough around there, isn't it? And I tried to defend it, as you do when someone says where you live is rough, and I went, nah, it's all right, it's friendly and that. As I turned around a corner, a car was on fire. On fire. And then I found myself saying the words, just behind that burning car there, mate. Could it? Yeah, do you see where that police tape is there? That's my house. Yeah.
That's not the racism that I care about. That's not what worries me. It's the other racism. It's the everyday racism, the undercurrent of racism that black people suffer every day. It's the death by 1,000 cuts kind of racism, the microaggressions that we... Now, white people look completely confused at this point. You look at me like that. And it's not your fault. It's not your fault, white people, because sometimes you just think you're making a mistake, because this kind of racism is often invisible to the naked white eye. OK, I'm a comedian. I travel a lot. I'm going up to Leeds. I'm travelling with my tour manager and best friend, Lila, also a black woman. So I go, you know what? That's Lila. I go, you know what, Lila? Let's not drive. It's a long drive. Let's get a train and go up in comfort. So we rush down to the train station. I buy us 2 first-class tickets. There's a train leaving, so we jump on the train. Train takes off. And we're walking through the train towards the first-class carriage. We walk into the first-class carriage. This white woman is sitting at a table. She looks up. She sees us. And at the top of her voice, she shouts, this is first class! Now, Lila goes, what the fuck did you say? And I hold Lila, no, Lila, no. I just grab her by her collar. No, Lila, no. No, Lila. No, Lila, no. No. Watch me humiliate this bitch just with my mouth. Come back. So at the top of my voice, I say, thank you, lady. But what was it about us that made you assume that we didn't belong in the first-class carriage? She starts to fumble. Everybody on the train just kind of leans out from behind her seat. And she gets flustered. She's like, and then all she could think of was like, I thought you were lost. And I was like, how'd you get lost on a moving train going in one direction, bitch? How? Now, this woman was not alone. She was with her husband. Her husband was sitting opposite her at the table, same table. But we did not see her husband's face for this entire confrontation, because the entire time he was hidden behind the newspaper. Just. His hands never came down. All we saw were his knuckles just gripping that paper. And they were in their 60s. So they'd obviously been married a long time, and he's behind that newspaper going, ah! Nosy, big-mouth cow! 30 years we've been married, and every day of those 30 years I've said, mind your own fucking business! And now we're both gonna get beaten up by these two black boys. Oh.
2020 is the future. Almost. I mean, nearly. I think 2021, that's official future. That's proper future, 2021. That's when they said we'd have all them self-driving cars out on the road. Oh, I can't wait for my self-driving car. I want one of them Google cars. I bet you they're amazing. I bet you it doesn't matter where you tell it you want to go, it just wants to take you to see sexy girls in your local area. The only problem is, though, the other major revolution that's happening at this very moment in the automobile industry, all the cars are also becoming electric, aren't they? And the one thing that electric cars don't do, that normal cars do, is make a bloody noise. So chances are I'll be run over before I get my self-driving car. Even worse, run over by my own self-driving car. It's going to be a disastrous first day of ownership, innit? It's a problem. It's going to be carnage out there. There was a thing in the news, you might have flicked past it, a little story about Jaguar. It said Jaguar, they spent 4 years researching this problem, 4 years researching a fake noise to put on their electric cars so you can hear them coming. 4 years, they settled on this futuristic sound that they created, this kind of 4 years they worked on that for 4 years. The story then said that they have subsequently had to remove the sound from their cars, because what they found is, out in the real world, when people were hearing them coming, everyone was looking up in the air. 4 years. 4 years of research, and people's first reaction was bloody aliens. Run for the hills. Why can't you just make it sound like a car? Stop trying to be clever, make it sound like a car. Do you know what it is? It's a speaker under the bonnet that plays a sound that everyone outside the car can hear. Just make it sound like a car. If you can't manage that, just make it go vroom. Just make it go vroom. I'm a car. I'm a car. Do not look up, I am a car. Bigger the vehicle, deeper the voice. I'm a boss. I'm a boss. I'm a truck. I'm a truck. I'm a garbage truck, and I love to eat garbage. It's a speaker. If they wanted to sing a song, put an MP3 on it, man. Do what he wants. I'm a garbage truck, and normally the collection's on a Tuesday, but it's a bank holiday. I'm a garbage truck.
People call me Dougal. You know why? Simply because of a character that I played in a sitcom many years ago. And just before I start, I'd like to get something off my chest, if you don't mind. Because of that character that I played in this show called Father Ted, a lot of people think I'm actually stupid.
think I'm the stupidest person in the world and they feel sorry for me. Only last week someone stopped my wife in the street and said, "Is he as stupid in real life?" And I wouldn't mind, but I was standing right beside her at the time. I'm talking to her like she's my carer, not just my wife. And this is a true story, and I'm going to tell you this and then I'm going to move on. A couple of years ago, I was in a taxi. I arrived at Dublin Airport. I live in Dublin, and I jumped into a taxi, and I asked the taxi driver to take me home. I gave him the address. I didn't just assume he knew where I lived. And the taxi driver just wanted to talk about this show that I was in, Father Ted. And he was looking at me with pity. And he actually asked me at one point, he said, "Do you remember being in it?" This is my life. People wonder why I do this. Why I travel up and down the country week in, week out, try to convince strangers that I'm a normal, intelligent human being. Well, that's the reason. Anyway, I'm in the taxi, and I'm trying to change the subject to anything at all, sport or politics, and I'm trying to impress the taxi driver with my knowledge, and I'm using big words to impress him, like utensil and testosterone. And we were getting on fine. We were about 20 minutes into the journey. This is absolutely true. I suddenly remembered that I have a car. Some of you are ahead of me. And 3 days previously, I parked my car at the airport car park. And I just couldn't tell him. I couldn't bring myself to tell him. I know how the world works. One little slip up, you'd never be allowed to forget it. "Oh, sorry, could you turn around? I'm such a big fool." No. I know he'd be telling everyone, "Oh, you'd never believe who I had in the car, that feckin' Egypt from Father Ted." So I let the driver take me all the way home. And as soon as he was out of sight, I called another taxi and I went back to the airport.